so we can discuss pertinent matters to this public hearing now.
No.
I would like to ask that of the full members. Will the full member make a motion
Sean,
to do
we
that?
opened the public hearing. We opened the public hearing. The public would like to speak. I'm sure that some people in the room would like to speak on some of the issues related to the amendments to the zoning regulations. You have every right to challenge either the process or the language or anything else, but the public are entitled to speak on it when we've heard testimony from the public. I will ask the Commission to hold over the meeting at least till the next meeting, at which point, whatever you want to discuss. As a point of information, the regulation changes were developed by the Commission over a period of about the last 2 years, maybe even longer than 2 years. And I'm sorry that if there are certain members, Sean, you've been to a lot of meetings, diligently coming to meetings. John, fewer meetings. Ron, fewer meetings. But this Commission developed all of these regulation changes, this Commission. So,
Well, may I ask this then? Can you disclose to the public, since we don't have the legal opinion, you've addressed that, given me an avenue to address that, can you tell the public why we did the regulation changes? I mean, I wasn't here at the time, but why the Commission put these regulation changes out? For example, in the first part of it, you have 28 businesses being banned in Woodbury over, I think, aquifer protection. I don't understand why. And I know members of the public have asked me this privately. Can you explain? Or,
yes.
If you would do that, I'd certainly appreciate it. And maybe that would help a lot of the folks in terms of what their concerns are.
Mr. Clark and I were the only ones that went to the school that the state held for aquifer protection.
I think Catherine went.
Catherine who?
Catherine Ed's at the former planner.
Yes, she did. But we were the only Commission members that went.
Is she a Commission member?
The state does not want it done this way.
All right, can you hold your comments and address them through the chair? And we're in a public hearing, and I want to bring everybody to the format for tonight's meeting. And each and every one of the complaints by alternates and commissioners will be addressed to their satisfaction. But right now, we're in the public testimony part of this hearing process. Would anybody like to speak on the regulation changes? All right.
McNally, 56 Orchard Avenue, Woodbury, Connecticut. I'd like to say this. Since last November 9th, 2010, a request was submitted to this Commission. And it stated, the Woodbury Zoning Commission, Town of Woodbury, Connecticut. The Woodbury Zoning Commission is requested to repeal its regulations restricting the subject matter, number, signs, and duration of political signs. Specifically, it should repeal its regulation 7.510I, political signs. One or more signs, total aggregate amount of signage per property not to exceed 12 feet. This restriction is unconstitutional and in violation of the First Amendment of the United States. Since that time, this request and its status was completely ignored at numerous other zoning commission meetings. Finally, on September 13th, 2011 meeting, without any notice and masked under the correspondence section of the meeting, the new regulations were released. At subsequent meetings, the chair and vice chair refused to allow any review or discussion of their draft changes, either by the public or the commission members themselves. Several times, Mr. Chairman, you have stated since June that you have a letter which says these new regulations drafted are constitutional. In that letter from the town lawyers, which you have refused meeting after meeting to release either to your commission members or the public in general, hiding under your dictatorship of the committee. Political signs, one or more signs, this is the new regulation now, folks. Before it was size, couldn't be more than 12 square feet. Political signs, one or more signs, the total aggregate amount of signage per property not to exceed the greater of I, 12 square feet, same as before. However, added, or II, the maximum aggregate of the signage which would be allowed on the property under the regulations applicable to the district in which the property is located. And then a section, adjustment to sign size. In recognition of the Main Street is a special district consisting of both residential and business uses, and in consideration of the mechanics of visual communications to promote traffic safety, the size of business signs within Main Street may be adjusted upon the following criteria. Principal signs and supplemental signs located within 50 feet of the traveled way shall be limited to the size stipulated. Principal signs located between 50 and 100 feet of the traveled way may be increased by 25%. For example, the 6 square foot principal sign may be increased to 7.5 square feet. The size of the supplemental sign shall not be increased. Now that's more restrictive than the previous. In several meetings we have provided to you, Mr. Overton, that this regulation is unconstitutional. According to the U.S. Constitution and freedom of speech, and also according to the Connecticut Constitution. And you have sat there at meetings and said, number one, you said we'd never see the lawyer's sign because you were going to keep it because you and the vice chairman want a town lawsuit. No one has threatened you with a lawsuit. What we want is the information released to the public. You are hiding in executive session. Is a travesty. A travesty. Sir, please, give it up. Let's discuss publicly, along with all your commissioners and the town, and let's hear what you have put in to these regulations, because you never, until September 13th, showed it to your commissioners. On top of that, you didn't schedule it in the regular meeting. You released it under correspondence. How is that open and honest to the public? Sir, you should resign.
Yes, it is totally appropriate. The object of the public hearing obviously is to get the testimony down clearly. And by asking a question of the testifier, if you will, to clarify what they mean, I think that's normally the chair will do that to make sure that if they're in favor of or opposed, it's very clear on the record. But I don't think that the sense of a public hearing is to enter into that much dialogue, other than to get the record clear. It is a public hearing to receive
clarification of Mr. McNally? Is that appropriate?
Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McNally, my question is, I hear your dislike of the proposed and current regulations. Is there a proposal for a change? Like, what are you looking to accomplish?
My original suggestion was that political signs be removed from the town regulations.
Repeal was the word you used. You said repeal 7.5.10.I is what you just said a few minutes ago, repeal. That's what I wrote down.
Correct.
Okay.
Repeal the subject matter.
Yeah.
On the size, yeah, take it out. Remove it.
I understand.
There's no way it should be in there, according to the U.S. Constitution and the Connecticut Constitution. And we'll find out Thursday, Martin, at the FOI hearing, whether what you have done to date with reference to the lawyer's letter is freedom of information usage, which you have violated.
Anyone else wish to speak on the regulation changes? Tom?